Hello, beautiful people. Today, I want to introduce the concept of junk content. Now, where this concept came from is when my kids were growing up, and in the time and age when they were in high school and asking me for, please, mum, can I have a mobile phone? I I did the right thing. Bought my daughter an analog phone when she first asked for a phone. She was really not impressed with me. And unfortunately, I caved in to the pressures that I think we all feel as parents and did eventually give her an iPhone, a smartphone at the time. And yeah, looking back, certainly one of the things that crossed my mind as a parent is that as it stands, we are in information overload. There's so much information out there. And with the introduction of AI, it's like a scramble to get so much more content out. And I have always questioned the value and quality of the content that's out there right now. And as our content, as our attention shortens, our content also shortens, and it really gives you a real insight into how very adaptable our brains are working in processing a lot of this information. And it's incredible to think that most views on content out there is something like 2 to 5 seconds. It's less than 10 seconds that someone's commanding attention. And daring to be different, I will where I can avoid shorts, and really honour and look for valuable, insightful, uplifting content for myself, long form content that helps me and raises my awareness. Now, I've gone down a slight rabbit hole here, bringing it back to that concept of junk content. Now, the reason this came up was when my kids were young enough, I thought, what is it as a parent that I can do to raise their level of awareness age appropriately, to attach some meaning towards how are they going to decipher between good quality content and rubbish content, or content that actually doesn't help them in life. And we all know what junk food is, right? And we have this incredible focus as parents to educate our children on eating healthy habits, and there's a lot of emphasis on obviously food. So junk food is something that I really understood that my kids understood and resonated. And so I kind of attached that label. And at the time that they're growing up, it was TV time. So I attached the label of junk TV, not in TV in general, but in terms of what they were watching. So if they were watching certain things that I thought, oh, this is probably not the best content for them, I would often say, like, what, start the questions. What is junk TV? Junk TV is things that aren't helping us, that may be violent in nature, that may be highlighting when people aren't at their best, putting people down, making a joke at other people's expenses. And so I realised that there was a lot out there that, especially in the smart world and when my kids started to have ownership of a smartphone, I thought as a parent, you can place as much restrictions as you like on these devices, but there's going to come a time when you will no longer have control as a parent on what they decide to watch on their phones, and the magical age of 18, right? So for me, it was really starting to nurture and become curious about what they're watching and why, and to be able to embrace that from a more positive aspect. So rather than the tone and question of, why are you watching that for? It's really a question of, oh, what's that you're watching? And asking them, what is it that, and it could be someone being put down because of the way they look, and really starting to ask questions, value-based questions, family value questions of what do you think about that? And trying to understand from my children what's their point of view when they watch this content. And it opened up some beautiful discussions. So every time, every opportunity that I had to be able to embrace and ask those questions to my kids, it allowed me to then reinforce that notion of, okay, so are we watching junk TV or are we watching good TV? Are we watching junk content or are we watching great content, things that are actually helping us? And from that became this concept of, junk TV, but now this is junk content. And for me, it is so important because we can always externalize the problems that we may face as parents, and we look at how our children are behaving, and we can blame the world, we can blame, and there's good reasons why. I mean, there's so much information around how successful these social media platforms are in successfully capturing our attention. It's all drawn to be able to keep us on the app. We know all of that. There's enough documentaries and studies done on that to know that they're there to keep us engaged and have that audience. And so for me, it's been about, okay, if we are in these platforms, what are we really watching? What are we really viewing? Because there's, like I said, going to come a time when those restrictions will be taken off our children. And for me, the work that I can do right now before that time comes is really to educate my children and empower them to make the choices that are better for them. And it all starts at home. It all starts at home. And so rather than look externally, I really looked internally as to what have I got control of, what can I do, and that was my little piece. So young and old, I don't believe that there's any wrong time to have these discussions or too late. It's really about opening up those conversations and starting to label things what they really are, because quite honestly, I feel like all the gold, and it is becoming gold, it's that rare pieces of valuable and beautiful content that are being just layered and layered into mountains of dirt and to sift through that dirt to find the gold. When you know where you're looking, it's there. The gold is there in terms of content, but know and being aware as to what we are watching that is not adding to our values, adding to our lives, in a positive way is so important. That's it from me. A little food for thought today, and I hope that this little share helps you in some small way to getting a little piece of health and happiness back into your life. Take care. Love to you all. Bye bye.